It is a Wednesday. It's actually a Wednesday.
Oh.
It's the 23rd of June.
Cool.
And this is Jacob Clegg and Alex O'Connor, and we are two dudes making a podcast. Just another two dudes dropping a pod. In the sea of two dudes making a podcast. Two dudes never survive. Oh, that was excessive energy.
We didn't even plan that.
No.
We kind of both did it at the same time. It was weird.
No. Okay.
That was weird.
So you
That's the best joke from the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie.
okay.
Which is not great, but it is, depending. But the best thing is just when Shake goes, "Hey, you guys remember that chicken? Yeah, that guy was weird." Just like-
That's the chicken from the future, right?
No, this is a
Not a
chicken
future
that's on
chicken?
fire that's just running around.
Oh, for the whole episode.
That guy
for
was
the whole
weird.
movie.
Not for the whole episode, just one part, and they call back to it for no reason.
The movie.
Yes, the movie.
I always like the intro to the movie.
Yes, the intro
with,
is cool. The Egyptian stuff and
No. The before the movie even starts.
okay.
Mastodon.
Oh yeah, of course the movie part where they're the gummies and the fucking candy and shit like that. Yeah.
And they like
Don't
they and they stop the like intermission candies.
Yeah, by like headbutting them.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and take over and tell you how to watch a movie and tell you not to crinkle your wrappers.
Yeah.
And ruin it for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the that movie I wish I could have seen in theaters. I heard that many a person was sort of unsure of what that even was.
Yeah, it was weird.
Similarly, the Tenacious D movie.
What were you about to say about it?
I think some people. I remember hearing. Okay, you know what? Just in conversation with my brother. In fact,
Okay.
I never read anything about any of this. Right? That was like,
I never read anything.
well, yeah. I want to make that actually clear
I
because.
did not look at Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, okay, like, because if you have siblings and you trust them,
No, of
sometimes,
course. Yes.
sometimes they tell you things and you just go, "That's clearly
that's the truth.
that has to be."
I feel like that's most people. The first time you hear something from somebody you even slightly respect.
My super cool older brother definitely knows all the answers
Yeah.
and wouldn't lie to me.
Of course not.
So here's
Never mind, he's wrong.
so Tenacious D.
The pick of destiny.
People walked out of that movie. They didn't know what it was. They didn't. They just knew Jack Black from School of Rock. They just knew Jack Black from School of Rock. And then they go in there and they're like, "Butt babies, putting out lasers with your dick." Actually, I guess Butt Babies wasn't in.
No, Butt Babies
that
was
movie.
in the show.
I remember
was
loving
genius.
that movie a lot. Actually,
It's good. It's not amazing. It's good.
something about it inspired me to want to write more music.
That's good. That's great.
I remember feeling incredibly sad when Jack Black does the knee slide, the Pete Townsend knee slide,
Yeah.
and then falls on his fat belly and smashes Monster Mash,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
childhood guitar. And even though he's hamming it up and just doing like the dumbest child cry,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I remember thinking like, if that was my guitar, I would absolutely be in tears.
so sad.
Especially if it was your only one that you
Yeah.
had had for all of your life.
Oh my God.
Just doing
that-
something that stupid. Like, I was trying to be extra rock and roll, and now Monster Mash is gone.
That movie's some kind of. It's got something. There's something special about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's. I don't know. fucking
Even
good.
though it's like a rewriting or a retelling
lot
of
of the
all of the
show.
stuff they had already done.
Yeah.
But then that's the South Park movie too.
Correct. Yeah. That's all that. Like almost every movie that like takes part of a TV show and runs with it, like it ends up rehashing things because most people didn't see. Like not everybody is. You don't expect people who saw the TV show to go see the movie because some people, some insane people, just go to the movies.
No.
It's crazy.
Are
Like,
movies still a thing?
well, they are again now.
Yeah, cool.
They are again now. But I just mean like in the past, some people just like go to. Some people just fucking go to the movies and they say, "Oh, this is playing."
Okay,
Which
you
is
know what?
insane.
Finish the thought on like Tenacious D, and
Okay.
then talk about actually going to the movies.
Okay, I will. But and that's why when you have that TV show that becomes a movie,
Okay.
you rehash it. Like it happened with Serenity, which was Firefly. It happened with
Oh shit, I never saw that. Carry on.
But just like everything that's like a TV show that becomes a movie, they always have to like redo a whole bunch of stuff for the people who never saw the TV show. Because if you only expect the people who saw your TV show to come to the movie, then you're missing out, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
you're limiting your
stuff.
You're limiting yourself.
Correct, because not everybody who saw the TV show is going to go see the movie, so you've already lowered your chances of hitting whatever numbers you want to fucking hit. So, but as far as Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny goes, it's great. It features Guitar Center, which is a lot of fun. And Ben Stiller, which is great.
Takes them in the back.
Yeah,
he's like
the little closet.
Let me show you guys something. Like that you would never, and like, Guitar Center didn't really have that. As far as I remember, they had like, they didn't have. I'm sorry, they didn't have anything that really kind of makes the guitars seem like they're in a special location. They got guitars that are way up high, but you feel like you kind of have to ask permission for anything that's high anyways. It doesn't make it seem like it's in some special area.
It depends on the Guitar Center, because there are some that are in like glass cases that are locked up.
That'd
there
be
are some, you know what I mean?
The city ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that
ones.
Sam Ash was, if you know what Sam Ash is.
Yeah, of course.
It was the only.
How the fuck wouldn't I know?
It was the only store that I had ever been to where they had guitars that were specifically behind a counter to very much put up a wall in front of you to want to get to those things.
But I mean, that was the point of Guitar Center, was just to be like, no, you're allowed. Come in.
Yeah.
We're not like those assholes at Sam Ash. I mean, we are.
We are the same store.
Also, Sam Ash's assholes.
And then, like, what was Daddy's Junkie Music?
I don't know. I didn't live here when
you never went
existed.
to one?
I didn't live here when it existed.
There was the one across the street from Berkeley in Boston, Berkeley College of Music.
Yeah.
So there was Daddy's
Guitar
Junkie
Center
Music.
took.
Right, exactly. Which is really funny because they have one right in Fenway.
Yeah.
So
I know. The one across from Berkeley is a fucking shit show. Last time I checked it out,
never went. I went to Daddy's Junkie Music, and I remember that.
Well, you were in the same space then.
Yeah, and I remember that that was.
It's just there to sell strings, basically, like to Berkeley kids.
Or I don't know if they took in. Surprising amount of kids who go to Berkeley don't know how to set up their own instruments.
I believe that,
which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But
playing and setting up is two different things.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I remember the time of not knowing what the fuck to do about a setup. Like I knew how to restring my Floyd Rose, but I didn't know how to set up the guitar.
Yeah, you didn't know how to. Like,
I knew to adjust the truss rod, but I didn't know about like adjusting, the saddles
bridge,
or doing all that stuff.
Correct.
Or changing the action or anything. I just knew the truss rod, like adjust it.
Truss rod, adjust.
Yeah,
adjust the truss.
So going to the
movies.
The movies, right?
Have you ever? I do have something to say about this.
Sure.
Have you ever? Like I was just making fun of. Have you ever gone to the movies without picking out the movie you were going to see beforehand?
Yeah, I was gonna. That's what I was gonna talk about.
Okay, good. Because don't get me wrong, that I've only done it once, and it was one of my favorite movie-going experiences that has ever happened.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the insane old people that hate everything that do that. Like, why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Just to say, the old people still read the newspaper to find out when the movies are playing.
Yeah, but they usually
at least my grandma does.
Well,
AI is playing at 3:15.
I wonder what
we should go see
means.
that. So, what movie did you see when you went to go see in theaters? Do you remember?
My friend George. Oh yeah, me and my friend George. Shout out, no,
George.
You rule,
George. Why aren't you responding?
Yeah. Fucking asshole. Me and George, I don't even remember why. I think we were just hanging out and we were just like, let's fuck it. We got nothing to do. Let's go to the movies and see what's playing. Like, let's just go. Because also, if nothing was playing, we would have just gone to do something else. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been fine. But we went to the movies. We looked at the marquee, the board. It was a Regal Cinemas. We look up. Looking at this before you got the big nice chairs, you know what I mean? You still had the shitty theater seating. We look up and we see. Oh, I think that movie Hot Rod is supposed to be funny. I don't know anything about it, but it's the only thing playing now. So then we went, and it was just me and George and like one other person way over in another seat, and had one of the best fucking times of my life seeing a movie, because Hot Rod rules, especially if you have no idea what's going to happen.
Hot Rod is ruined by its trailers.
Correct, and we hadn't seen them. Correct, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I didn't watch Hot Rod for like a decade entirely because I thought that at the time it would have been trailer after trailer after trailer of a lot of comedies that were kind of sold in a similar way.
Yeah, it was kind of your post Adam Sandler, and you like pretending to be that style. Of
you thought that you knew what you were getting.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Well, I can't remember the time framing directly. I just remember that trailer does not do justice to what the fuck they do in that movie.
Because again, we didn't know what we were walking into. By the time the Cool Beans scene hit, we were losing our fucking minds. Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Cool Beans.
It's just a series.
Cool Beans. Cool Beans, and then like words fly out. Oh my god! And then just by the end, Ebenezer Scrooge coming out of a bus.
That's
in a
movie.
I know.
They did.
I know.
They did just like a fucking YouTube sketch
of
of millions of dollars movie.
Just insanity, absolutely insane. And one of my favorite quotes ever comes from Danny McBride in that movie. Who, when I saw it, I had no idea who the fuck Danny McBride was, but now he's a huge fucking star.
Mm-hmm.
But it's when they something happens like. Fucking Andy Samberg is like luging down the street and he hits a trash can and some dude gets out and gets real pissed, and then Danny McBride's character beats him up and takes his hat and just starts beating him. It's like, yeah, how do you like that? This is my hat now. Totally my hat, and just puts it on and walks away. It's fucking so goddamn good. Oh, I love that movie. That movie rules. But yeah, that's the only time I've ever just gone to the theater, and like I'll never forget that. It was so fucking funny and so enjoyable. Like I don't know, I just wouldn't have enjoyed seeing that movie any other way as much as I did, and now it's amazing.
I think I saw The Road.
Wow.
I think that's the movie. I think that's the movie that I went to the theaters
at least read
to.
the book beforehand.
No,
so I got to be like, well, this isn't as good.
I don't know how I knew about The Road. It might have been from like a weird at the time. At the time when don't even worry about that. Don't touch it.
Oh,
stop,
I'm doing it.
Stop touching that.
Nope.
Okay.
Just keep talking.
I am.
Just
So
keep talking.
I think I saw The Road either from just showing up to the theaters or maybe through recommendation. No. I think I had heard that The Road was a thing, went to the theaters to try and find a movie, and
saw
ended
it
up
and was
selecting
just like,
The Road.
I heard The Road was something.
Yeah. And it was going to be
you
playing in like yes.
Oh.
So I saw The Road alone, and the most.
Whoa.
I mean, clearly the most memorable stuff aside from at the beginning when it's like they find cannibals for the first time and they hide and have one bullet and it's only like dedicated to themselves.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they're going to think about doing.
That's the implication. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is the part at the end where they meet that man on the beach when they've gone as far as they've gone, and after all of the travels that they've done and all the things that they've seen and escaped from and found themselves morally on the side of we're still ambiguous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like they find moral ambiguity throughout the entire. They're not forced to really pick anything.
That's why it's all gray.
Except for, I guess, yeah. But I guess aside from like the people who are being stored to be eaten and they don't like save all of them, I guess you're still morally ambiguous because you didn't do anything to make it so that they were still trapped there, but you didn't do anything to help them.
Correct. Yeah.
They just left.
But it's also understandable. Just get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, get the fuck, because they're all zombie people at this point. That's there's no humanity left there. There is a distinction of like
leave now.
What
go
what humanity still exists. Oh, there is none. There is no God here.
Mm-hmm.
We are leaving. And then you get to a beach and you're like, with the guy. I guess the guy kind of threatens them. Am I remembering that correctly?
It's been so. I only saw it in.
I just know that they end up. They pick a
but.
side of what they need to do for themselves at the cost of someone else, and the dad like makes that guy give him his fucking clothes and shoes and shit and everything he's got left. And he's like, give us fucking everything. Because I'm pretty sure that he threatened them or had them at a displacement for a moment, and then the dad was like, "We have dealt with this for too long, and now in front of my son, I'm showing him a side of evil."
Yeah,
and of course you follow the bleakness of everything leading up to this point, and like the movie is supposed to suck something out of you, and it does.
It does, yeah.
it takes a little piece of you and keeps it with it for all time. That's the level of artisanship.
If you haven't already read the book.
I didn't read the book. Fuck the book. It takes too long to read things.
No.
Reading takes too long.
No, it doesn't.
If a picture can tell me as much as 8 pages, and it's like 3 seconds on screen because it was crafted well enough to be like, look at what this one short image really drives you towards. I think it's a more efficient.
Efficiency doesn't mean better.
Fair enough.
Quick question. I'm going to hit you with this one. Would you rather be raped or killed?
I would rather be raped.
Thank you. Okay. That's only because you mentioned that in the road, but that also reminds me of a story.
Wait, hold on. Where did I bring that up when talking about the road?
Oh, because they found the cannibals and they had the one bullet between them, and it's just like,
Oh, okay.
Well,
Because I guess they knew that they were going to be tortured for a long period of time.
Yeah. And
So they're selecting to be killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you kind of, even though there's terrible pain, you kind of always want the hope of potentially escaping, which is actually the whole point of the first part of Dune, which is coming out soon. But anyway, the Gamja Bar. The Gamja Bar by Gaius Helen Moheim. But
I'm in a totally different place in my brain. I'm
like
skipping over something.
The
Bene Jesuits.
Yeah, Jesuits.
Bene Jesuits.
But I...
Bene!
That only...
Benny and the Jesuits.
Benny the Jesuits, hell yeah. Perfect band.
That
We're starting it
song
now.
is so awful.
Yeah.
Like, Elton John, fine. Give him plenty
Elton
of
John's
credit.
great.
That song, why?
Yeah.
And why Sail Away by Styx? These songs have horrible singing. The singing is bad. His style of singing is all pitchy. It's very pitchy.
Yeah, of course. He's trying to be flashy.
Well, his flash ends up taking him all out of key and has a tonality that's just
flash
obnoxious.
And no smash is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I was once at a bar.
Never. You've never been caught at a bar in your life.
I was once at a bar with a friend of mine. And one of those things happened where I saw, and it's not correct to call her the roommate of my ex-girlfriend because there was no ex-girlfriend. It was just an ex-person used to hang out and do things with,
Okay.
So out at a bar, there was a person there that I knew from being a roommate of a girl that I fooled around with. And it was one of those things where I'm walking through, and then all of a sudden, hey! And she's like, hey! Like one of those things where like, hey! Like, haven't seen you in a while, and that's awkward. How you doing? And then we have to pretend to talk to each other for at least a minute and a half. You know what I mean? Like where you've both seen each other, you've already said hi, even though you really don't necessarily like each other or care. You both at least say, how you doing? You doing okay? That's great. Cool. Important part to this story, I have my good friend Jeremy next to me. He doesn't know that this is just a person that I've had interactions with and don't care about. All he sees is his friend talking to an attractive girl. So he thinks, okay, I'll wingman. That girl that I'm talking to is there with another girl, so he takes up conversation with her. So they start talking. And now I'm noticing, fuck, if they get talking, I'm stuck in this conversation. And now I can't leave. I can't do that thing where it's like, oh, it's good to see you. Well, we're heading out. And I start picking up the conversation that they're having. Very important for you to know is Jeremy at the time was going to college for history. And I mean like political history. Recent political history. Mainly involving the Cold War.
Reagan.
But because at the time, the whole Darfur thing was happening.
Ooh.
The whole Darfur thing.
That thing that we forgot about.
That thing that we forgot about, that everybody forgot about.
2010, right?
Yeah, this would have been around there.
No. Coney 2012.
It would have been before Coney 2012.
That's right.
But, so of course, Jeremy, because he knows so much about all this, because that's his shtick at the moment, decides to bring up Darfur. So I'm hearing this and just like, what the fuck is happening? Okay, so I'm just trying to keep this conversation going while monitoring this one over here. And I end up hearing Jeremy basically say...
Jeremy Bearmy.
Bear Bear. Say, well, it's not just a genocide. Which is a great statement on its own. It's not just a genocide. It's even worse because they're not just killing them, they're like raping them too. I hear this. I'm just like, oh no. And then, because the person he was talking to also probably wasn't the brightest bulb in the shed, just looks at him and goes, well, Jeremy, I've been raped, and I'm glad I'm not dead. I immediately hear that and say, just like, okay, go bye. I just like grab him and I just fucking leave because I'm just like, I can do nothing with this situation. Like,
I'm about to go very bad.
Yeah, it's like, there's nothing I can do here. You're both right, but you're both so wrong. Because that's not exactly what he was saying.
What if they were about to become best friends?
That was not on the table.
Not at all.
It was not on the table. And we just fucking left Tom and Marty's and didn't look back. And I just get like, what the fuck? What? It's like, I don't know. It's what I've been thinking about. Fucking one of the most awkward things that's ever happened to me. Insanity.
I would think that you made the right move in preventing any further insanity there.
I often had to leave Tom and Marty's very quickly.
I used to do an open mic in Brighton, Massachusetts.
In Brighton.
At a place called Smokin' Joe's Barbecue. And Smokin' Joe was a real guy.
Cool.
He didn't show up often to his own bar.
I would hope not.
But when he did,
he was smoking.
Things were a little bit different. Things were usually very...
Bit looser?
Yeah. And he showed up with his wife, who was a trans person.
Okay.
And nobody ever said a fucking word about that.
Of course.
No. We were all everybody was very respectful, but what was curious was that it's like before you
have the knowledge and the words to really talk about things.
It's like 2010. Like, that's a thing.
Okay.
Look, it's been a thing.
Yeah.
Of course. 2010, 11, whatever.
11 years ago. But
it's not as prevalent in, like, political discussion as we do things now. I don't think it was nearly as much of, like, a Twitter debate. It might have been a thing, but whatever. It's not the point.
I mean,
I just remember it being that it was like, it's a thing, but nobody says shit because it's not.
It's not important.
It's not important.
Mm-hmm.
That was what was curious
it's just a
about
thing you
it.
notice, like many things.
Right. It was a thing that you noticed, but nobody ever talked about it. So, but it sort of ends up being this. So, like, he gets drunk a lot. He's kind of a beer belly. Yeah, Smokin' Joe gets drunk a lot, and he likes to yell things at people who are performing. He likes to yell things at people who are performing because it's a power play, and it's fun for him to heckle his own performers at his own place. Right. Yeah.
The whole reason he bought a bar was so he couldn't get thrown out of it.
Yes, I think so. I think that's pretty accurate to this man. And I used to frequent this bar aside from just doing, like, the open mic night part. I would go and, I remember a Sunday where I went and, like, it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Went to church.
And I had Bacardi 101. Or is that the right one? 151. Right.
Like, is there a 101?
101.
What a pansy.
Oh, it's a beginning to rum. We're learning.
Brr.
So it's rum with wheelchairs. Sorry.
You need to graduate to AP rum.
Rum with training wheels.
Wheelchairs. I didn't get that somehow until just now. You called that rum handicapped? I mean, compared to 151, it does perform less well.
So they light it on fire for me and then blow it out and whatever. All right, that's just an aside from the story, but, I went there a lot. So one night, Smokin' Joe decided to heckle a very sensitive boy.
You.
No, not me.
No.
I always thought it was funny when he said shit to me. Because I would just laugh. That's usually my reaction. Somebody says something really harsh, and I just go, "Gah! Woo! You're right. It is terrible. He just goes, that song was awful. Like, he just wrote that. He just said that to me once. He goes, that song sucked. And I was just like, you're
the
right,
Ostrich People?
Smokin' Joe. It was.
How did I fucking know?
That's so funny. No, not the Ostrich People. P.S. General Slocum.
Oh, fuck him.
He said that song sucked.
That's one of my favorites.
Well, by itself, it's not so great.
That's bullshit.
Oh, whatever.
That's bullshit.
It doesn't matter.
Fucking
So
crap.
he decided to heckle a sensitive singer-songwriter boy, and he took it really hard that night. I remember we were just kind of talking amongst ourselves afterwards because these were all regulars, and he was really hurt, and we were all going to, for some celebratory reason, another bar down the street, so a few blocks away.
Yeah. As you do.
And now we're going to this other bar, and it's become this drama detail where Smokin' Joe hurt Andrew's feelings.
Okay.
So Andrew, his feelings are hurt, and I don't know. I feel kind of protective of him because he's so sensitive. And I just remember being like, that was kind of wrong. Like, what? Because I heard what he actually said to him, and I kind of went.
What did he say? Do you know?
I really wish I could remember.
You don't have to exact wording, but
It's
like,
just
was it just
something
you're
along, like-
awful and go die in a hole?
No, it wasn't.
Like,
No, it's like.
don't deserve existence.
No, it's something like. Just. I think he
Just
said
say
something
no.
about his appearance, actually.
What
I think
an
he just
asshole.
said something about, he just like heckled him, though. It was just like some typical heckling.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
like your
you
hair's,
look like a boy.
your hair's dumb and your song's stupid. I liked the other one
Smoking
better.
Joe.
Like really, it was
Sure.
It really wasn't all that serious of a thing, but the kid's sensitive. I'm saying he's sensitive for for the real truth of being. He takes things hard. It's
That's a
just,
buck up, bitch. No, sorry.
that's what you want to say, but
No,
it doesn't work.
Yes, I'm aware.
He's the kind of person who, like, they get suicidal, and then you go, "Fuck, it sucks." I'd like to bring you out of that, but then they get suicidal so
There's
often, you
nothing
just
I
be like,
can
"Hey,
do."
man,
Yeah.
fucking like." A lot of us think about killing ourselves.
You do you, bro.
But you just be like, like what? Every week, you probably just be like, probably gonna off myself, and then you just, carry on forward, and just like you think the same way, but like you actually get enveloped by it. I'm just like driving my car, and the thought pops into my head. It's like on my way to Walmart to grab some
What
eggs.
if I turned right
and
real quick?
No, it's never like that. It's like, probably fucking.
You're right. It'd be left.
Yeah.
Take somebody out with you.
That's kind of mean, but well, for them. But anyways, point being,
We're not making fun of suicide, but there is certainly a prevalence of people who
are a bit too ready to tell other people that they're feeling that.
yes,
Whereas, like,
and it may be true, but
effective suicide comes from not telling anybody anything.
Yep.
I mean, how often do you hear? You know what?
When somebody cries out for help
Look,
on Facebook,
let me just
and
throw
then
this out.
says,
Let me just throw this out there. How often do you hear? Does somebody go? Last week he was talking all about suicide, and then he did it. Like never. It's always.
You're
it's always
right,
like. It's always
but
like
nobody would ever admit
He
that.
was totally normal last week. He was having fun at a party. It was crazy. We were talking about how much we like Cadbury cream eggs, and we're like, what a great import.
Cadbury.
And then I said, I like Kinder eggs because they come with a toy inside. And then he said, did you know that there was a period of time where that was illegal? Like Germany couldn't, because there was stuff in their chocolate that we don't have in our chocolate. And then you're like, oh wow, both of our impulse buys at a convenience store kind of align. And what a special person. He's so you can get along with him so well. He was so jovial and so funny. And then he blew his brains out with a gun that he always owned.
Look, Courtney Love killed Kurt Cobain. No, she didn't. She just hired somebody to do it. So,
she hired somebody.
yeah. But what I mean,
Make it look like a suicide. We did, Courtney. We did.
We already did that. Stop asking us.
No, what happened was he OD'd on heroin, and then his toe went limp. And the gun went off.
No.
It was post-mortem.
He was clean. No, I don't know.
Maybe from a bath. Kurt Cobain
Where did
takes
Mary
baths.
go? What I will say is, of course, you never hear that. What your diatribe, because nobody would ever fucking admit that if somebody they knew killed themselves, they would never admit, he was just saying he was going to kill himself last week. Because then it would be their fucking fault. It's why every time you hear the serial killer, just like he was so normal, because nobody's coming up and just being like, yeah, I
that
could
was
see
a
it.
fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I could see it. Because then it's like, well, then it's your fault you didn't fucking do anything. Also, this is a joke, and I'm stealing it from somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Daniel Tosh, but I will say I felt this premise before I heard his. So I'm going to claim that little bit. And that's the people who say, like, yeah, you always seemed like such a normal guy. I can't believe he would kill somebody. I could imagine every single person killing somebody.
People say it all the time.
All I'm saying is, like, I could, like, I think the Daniel Tosh joke is like, did you know your mother was a serial killer? And the joke is, honestly, I could kind of see it. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously that's the joke, but I could totally understand any person being able to hide something from you enough that they do something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
but people probably hide all kinds of things.
Of course they
all
do.
the time.
All the time, every time.
It's incentivized.
Yes. I mean, I had this experience with my old store manager. Stealing money from me.
Oh,
he was a good friend of mine.
You mean the same store manager that we both had?
Yes.
Oh, that was fun. What a great tale.
What a great tale where I had to tell everybody, Sweet Jeff. You won't get that at home. But you don't understand.
Sweet Jeff.
I hope he's watching.
I
Jeff.
had to disappoint Sweet Jeff. And
I had to look at him in his face
watch him deflate.
and tell him, this person we both respect stole money. And watch him battle with that and tell me it can't be true. And then I had to be like, no, it's true.
Real quick. Back to Smokin' Joe.
Okay, yeah, let's go. Sorry to throw us off on a tangent.
Because he hurt this poor boy's feelings, all right? And
oh, that's right. We were talking about suicide.
It was brought to my attention because of him.
Yeah,
and it was brought to my attention because a long time previous to this particular incident,
sure,
I stood up for this person.
The kid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though he's older than me.
I know what you mean.
Mentally.
Yes, I know what you mean.
All right, whatever. He's
the little baby boy. Yes.
Yeah, he's got that going for him. Look, I stood up for him once.
The cherubic
so
man.
this guy, look, there was a night where they had booked a whole bunch of different bands and singer-songwriters, okay? And he's on the list. You know how they do. They throw a bunch of shit together and they don't give a fuck about it.
It's like 90 people on the bill.
It's a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. Nothing matches up. It's like you're going from pop punk to old classic rock to one person on stage to fucking Primus. So you got him.
So you were on the bill.
He did his thing and then got off stage, and like 2 bands later, we're all like socializing, as you do at a bar and a musical event.
Yeah.
And there's a girl on stage.
That's why you smoke cigarettes, so you can leave the venue and go outside.
There's this girl on stage with her band or group or whatever the fuck it was that I'm not paying attention to because it wasn't memorable. But it was memorable enough to the guy who then decided to approach Andrew because Andrew was talking.
Is Andrew the kid?
Yeah, okay. Andrew's the kid.
That's older than you.
Yes. He's talking to me. We're talking back and forth. This guy approaches him and asks him for his musical info. He's like, "Hey, what's like your social media stuff? Like, where can I find your music? All that stuff." So Andrew starts telling him, and this guy then says, "Cool, because I want to make sure that I never follow anything that you do ever because you've been talking through this." You've been talking through this performance this entire time because you're rude. That's what he says, right?
I can't even look at you.
No, I know.
And it didn't even come from
And you know what came out of my mouth with no skip whatsoever was just, "Wow, you're a dick." That's all that came out of my face.
Yeah.
And he immediately had his attention on me now.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm just like staring there looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
We're in a bar where music is playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you.
No, but now his attention is split because his intent was to fuck with him. Because look, sometimes people
I can tell. Yeah, they got a chip on their shoulder.
But also sometimes, and this is surprising. Like, I don't know that I have like a lucky card where people don't fuck with me. I mean, they might. They might.
More so than
on occasion. On occasion, people do things.
You've got the vibe where most people stay away from you, but a certain type of person will pick you out.
Yeah. So like I'm usually pretty aware of like when, whatever. But like I know
Anybody
that
can say that.
But I have a lucky situation where most people don't fuck with me, even though I'm not like attempting to make sure that that's a thing. I just kind of end up getting that. It's like I don't know. But then some people out there have a certain air to them where some people think it's all right to go and pick them out of a crowd because it's an easy target. All right? And this particular person, their sensitive demeanor and their stature, just like the way they hold themselves.
Yes.
For some reason, shit just goes wrong for them all the fucking time. I don't know what it is, but the universe picks people out.
It's because they stand like this.
Yeah, it is kind of that like shruggy, like you know, I listen to Pavement fucking stance.
Pavement rules, but yeah, I know what you mean.
I dance to
Pavement, motherfucker.
No, I dance to the Peanuts like theme. You know that kind of dance though, but they like slouch and they kind of like just wiggle their feet. Okay, but look, the guy does those different things, and all I did was say what I said. And
wow, what a dick!
And dividing his attention, he still said what he wanted to say to him.
Split him up like a fucking velociraptor.
Splitting his attention kind of like fucked with his confidence, I guess, in it.
Of course.
And, gave him. Anyways, he ended up like walking off, but I didn't say a whole lot to him other than.
You just made him realize he was being a fucking dick.
Yeah, and then I gave him the finger for the rest of the night. Like any time that I saw him in the crowd, I gave him the finger, and occasionally he would look at me back, and then he also gave me the finger back, and then I was just like, but like we just kept giving each other the finger the entire night. Like no, it would be like full on. I'm at the bar, and I just the fucking finger really hard, hoping that he would come over. I was hoping to break him so that he would initiate the fight. It was poor decision making at the time, but
on all parties. But yes,
but also he was being a fucking dick.
Yeah, of course. You're at a fucking bar.
While you talk. While music is playing, people talk all the time. People are all talking all over the place. You're singling him out. Why?
And he's probably not
because
even being
you've got
especially
something
loud.
to prove. And you want to look a certain way or have a story to tell the lady on stage.
Yes.
It was flexing for a lady on stage and territorial bullshit. So 100%. He's being a fucking asshole, and you know exactly the kind of person who would do that.
Because he looked weak and was already on stage.
Yeah, so fuck you, guy, ever, period. All right, whatever. He's probably dead. Who cares? Maybe he committed suicide. That'd be awesome. So, Smokin' Joe said the thing that he said. It's brought to my attention. And we're at this other bar. And Smokin' Joe is at the bar. Having a drink.
At the other bar?
At the other bar that we've all walked to now.
But not his bar.
Not his bar anymore.
Okay.
Different bar. So I walked up and I ordered a drink. And I started talking to Smokin' Joe. And I said to Smokin' Joe, hey, Joe, can I call you Smokin'?
I wish you said that.
I'm
I know
kidding.
you didn't,
I
but I wish you
fucking
fucking
say
did.
that.
I know, but I wish you fucking did. I knew you were going to say it, and I was just like, this motherfucker didn't say that.
God damn it, that shouldn't be that predictable. Of course.
Of course that's predictable.
Of course it is.
Hey,
No,
Joe. As soon as he said, hey, Joe, and didn't say, hey, Smokin' Joe, I'm like, smoking's coming up.
All right. Let's carry forward.
Hey, Smokin'.
Joe, I heard that you said something to Andrew that hurt his feelings, and I got to tell you, I mean, he's a little bit sensitive, like it's kind of unfair. I think that maybe you might want to say, maybe just, I don't know if you got to apologize or whatever, but more just something along the lines
say,
of,
hey, I was joking.
Can you tell him that you were kidding so that he knows that, because he really thinks that you think that he really thinks that you think that he sucks.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. It
Okay,
came
cool.
from this mic, I think. And he's like, he looked at me with like a long stare, and then he just kind of said, it took some guts to tell me. I was like, oh, did it? It's like, okay, because I mean, you did say something shitty, and like,
well, this is a person that's used to nobody saying shit to him.
Well, okay, fine, but You said something shitty, you know? Like, just
No,
because
I
you're
know.
60 years old doesn't mean that you can say any shitty old thing to somebody that you want. And then also, like, it's not even about the fact that he said something shitty. Because
It's just the
it's
fact
funny.
that somebody else took
what
it the
he
wrong
said was
way.
funny. Somebody took it the wrong way. I would hope that you could find it in yourself to go, oh, this one particular person, I took it too far. Maybe I should, take that back and say something.
Maybe.
And then Smokin' Joe decided to tell me about his sexual history.
Of course. Because now you're best friends. Because you cut him down when nobody else will. You know what I mean? Like, you cut him down when nobody else will.
So now...
Because Smokin' Joe's used to being head honcho.
Yeah, I guess. But he goes into...
Like a Morton Joe in the Mad Max Fury Road.
He goes into, back in the day, I used to have a lot of sex parties. And you're like, cool.
You don't say.
I'm waiting for the next information.
You don't say.
He told me about it was like S&M stuff. He was like the head. I don't know. He wrote himself.
I
up to
was
be,
the head S&Mer.
Well, like I guess I don't know what he was getting at, but the thing that resonates in my brain for forever was the fact that he said to me, and I quote, "I used to own slaves." Who the fuck says that to you in modern times? He said, "I used to own slaves," and you're like, fucking what year and like in what context? Like, because you're mentioning S&M to me, I get what you mean.
1792.
I know what you mean. I'm aware of what you're getting at.
But also meant master-slave dynamic.
The way that you're delivering this information. No, I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Which obviously it's better saying dom-sub dynamic than master-slave.
There's a reason all those fucking words exist.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he says, I used to own slaves. And you're like, what the fuck do you mean? Tell me more. So I just had him telling me more things and more things. And I just kept asking him to tell me more things because he was drunk. And it was funny as shit for him to tell me a lot of stuff. And I'll just never forget that a dirty old man who hurt a boy's feelings told me that he used to own slaves. And he also owned a bar that no longer exists because of health concerns.
Yeah, I can't imagine he took COVID too well.
He's probably dead.
Probably dead.
Maybe he committed suicide.
I once had an older fat guy in high school who wore the button-up anime shirts.
Button up?
Yeah.
You mean
So,
like the ones that have
What
the...
I mean, like a shirt like this, where it's got button-ups, but it's got anime graphics on it.
Okay.
You know, where it's got Dragon Ball Z characters.
Oh, okay. All
Or
right,
it's got fire on the blue fire on the bottom.
the kind of guy
You know
who
what I mean?
also likes Guy Fieri and listens to Smash Mouth.
No.
Oh, okay.
You're incorrect.
Sorry.
Smash Mouth wears similar shirts to that, but you're not thinking anime enough.
I just figured those things kind of all smashed together.
No.
At the time.
No. You need to be more Hawaiian for that.
Mm.
Like, not actually Hawaiian, but shirt style.
Okay.
Once told me that he had summoned a demon with giant tits that did all his bidding for him, and I should come over and check it out to make sure that it was real.
Okay.
And I didn't believe him.
You should have.
I still think about it to this day.
You should have gone over.
I wonder if it was real.
It probably was.
I mean, it definitely
You'll
was.
never know.
You're right, I'll never know. It's like, how many times have you heard a snippet of a conversation of whether somebody you knew or didn't know that has stuck with you for a long time? I have a very specific memory of going to a camp for Boy Scouts. I only did that once. But, where a bunch of Boy Scouts go to a place and they stay for a week or whatever. It was fun, but whatever. Boy Scouts sucked.
Everybody says that.
I didn't do it for very long.
Okay.
Although my Boy Scout leader, whatever the fuck you call him, was the judge at my first speeding ticket, which was weird. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah. That is weird.
You remember the story I told you in my mom's car for the first time, where the cop wanted me to go to the mall?
You guys were trying to go to the mall, and you said mall won't be fun anymore.
Yep. We're
I just
no,
got a speeding
go to the
ticket.
mall. Come on, guys. I'm like, sir,
No.
I just got a speeding ticket. 5
Sir, I
minutes
feel
away
like
from
you're
my
gonna
fucking
follow
house.
me to the mall
Yep.
and see
or
what it is
call
we're
your
gonna
fucking
do.
buddies and say, hey, there's these speeding kids. Get them again.
Yeah.
But that ticket, when I went to the courthouse, which was also, a school police lab / basketball court. Binghamton was a wild place. There was Mr. McEnany, my old Boy Scout troop leader. I'm just being like, hey. He's like, I expected better from you. I don't know what to tell you, sir.
Gotta tell you, I look at you and I just think, expect less.
Please. But that
That
was
way
weird.
you're pleasantly surprised.
But anyway, so I went to a Boy Scout camp for a week. It was, it was a nice place, blah, blah. There's fucking lake, bullshit, whatever. I just remember I was walking back to my cabin alone. And from the other direction came like 3 or 4 older boys. And, I must have been in the 12 to 14 range, probably. And older boys, being the 17 to 18-year-old Boy Scouts, that age gap is huge. Where just all I remember hearing is, yeah, but dude, he's a werewolf. He can run way faster than you.
Yeah.
As I was walking in the opposite direction, I remember thinking, do they know something I don't? Do they know werewolves? If he's saying he can run faster than you, is he a vampire? Is he something else? Obviously, knowing once I got a little bit older, that's just the bullshit people argue about. Like, just like, who killed who? Fucking werewolf or vampire. You know what I mean? But I'll never forget, dude, he's a werewolf. He can run way faster than you. And that being my whole rest of my day, just thinking about, is there a werewolf here? Is that real? Is that something I don't know about? It's terrifying. My parents weren't around.
When I moved into this location, I had a neighbor. His name was Roger.
Is he gone?
Roger. He's gone.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, he moved.
Sad Roger.
Mm-hmm. Roger.
Mr. Sad for Viagra Roger.
Only we know that story.
No, I told them.
Did we?
Yeah, we told them.
Did we talk about that?
I had the best time ever.
Okay. So
4 Viagra is insane.
I guess we've talked about it a
The
little
pressure.
bit. When I moved in here, I remember while trying to buy the place, he had a stop.
Okay.
He had a Trump 2020 banner out, and he had a thin
blue
blue
line
line flag, and he has in the back, he has United States Navy parking only. We share a driveway. Our driveway is the same. We both
so
have
you weren't
to
allowed to
shovel
park
it.
there. No.
Well, right. But so I own the driveway. I own most of the parking.
That's right.
He owns his own garage little snippet of asphalt and then some dirt. And that's where people park.
Dirt.
But we both were out.
Dirt.
Winter in New England is tough. If you don't know New England winter, well, you don't really know much.
It'll kill you.
Yeah. Well, it's work. It's serious work that you got to be ready for. Even if you own a snowblower, you still got to get the shovel out for
We
different
only
spots.
experience the bad seasons. No, it's not entirely.
So, shoulder to shoulder. Look, I admit that because of the signs that he put out, I was expecting him to be a bit awful. And not because supporting certain political ideologies immediately means that you're going to be awful.
It
has everything to do with, like, you see a truck and you let me express this. If you see a truck driving and it's got diesel and you're like, okay, it's a truck with diesel, and occasionally it shoots out some black smoke. But then you see a truck that's diesel and it's got the kid from Calvin and Hobbes pissing on something, and it says locally hated, and it's got some big picture, it's got rednecky shit and like a bunch of just like, hey, fucking honk your horn at me and start an argument in traffic because I'm here to agitate, and that's the whole reason I exist. And also I've got 2 flags behind me, and one of them is don't tread on me and the other is the American flag.
Yep.
Okay, like it's that banner was huge, and it was on his porch. It was fucking huge, okay?
I don't think that a lot of people would find me in the wrong for making an assumption about someone who would get a banner that big.
Well, yeah, here's
It's
the
a
thing.
big banner.
It's not even what it says. Like, obviously, that is something else. Like, obviously, what the things that you put on your stuff actually mean are an extra level. But it's also just the fact that anybody announcing themselves so hard for anything
Right, like if
is
I put
usually insufferable.
if I put the biggest rainbow banner out front of my business, as well as like a huge picture of who was that bitch who ran for fucking what's that old
Elizabeth
bitch?
Warren?
Elizabeth Warren. Huge Elizabeth Warren, just like picture with a fucking thumbs up.
That
or
old
something.
bitch.
She lost. Get over it. She's gonna keep losing. Fuck. Sorry.
Better than Hillary, but yeah.
Isn't she the one who claimed to be Indian?
Yes.
Fuck her.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Native American. Fuck her.
No, Indian is the correct term.
For in this particular context. So only because she was that fucking lame.
I don't know. It's hard to find
I would
people
be
who
equally
don't claim
insufferable.
Native American heritage.
I would be.
But yes.
I remember making a joke of that in front of some Native American, like real Native American people once. And I said, I'm 164th Cherokee, like as a joke, and I thought they would get it, and they didn't. And then I had to explain it, and then they were like, oh, okay. And you're like, that went really bad.
This, maybe I'm in the wrong.
I might have made things awkward. Look,
Privilege.
I would be just as.
Yes, the point is, it's more that you're screaming what you want to say out loud than what you say.
So
Of
he
course,
set
what you say
himself.
is
He
a
set
point.
himself up to be expected.
An insufferable asshole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which he wasn't an asshole.
Insufferable, yes.
He was insufferable.
Yes.
But in the best of ways, like Roger was a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Roger was Ned Flanders, except that he would look awful in a ski suit.
He was not stupid, sexy Roger.
No. Roger was curious.
Aren't they all?
Roger, he helped me fix stuff. We plowed the driveway together, in tandem. It worked out well. It was always done on time. It was done efficiently. He came over and unclogged some sinks for me.
Yep.
He pointed out issues in my plumbing.
Yep.
He helped me fix my porch stairs that were sliding down. He did a lot of neighborly things. But this is what also Roger would do when helping you, is that Roger couldn't help but talk about what he had seen in the news today or political nonsense.
This is why Roger is Roger.
Right. Because Roger built up a wall around himself that made it so that you just couldn't be friends with him because he couldn't stop it.
Yep.
He couldn't help himself. He would just fucking... I liked Roger, actually.
Yeah. I met Roger a bunch of times.
My new neighbors, hilariously, are going to be a lesbian couple.
It is pretty funny. It's not funny that they're lesbians. It's funny that lesbians are getting Roger's house.
It's funny that lesbians are getting the Roger's house because a gay couple lives here.
That's also true.
So now, of all of the fucking places, a house, a pair of
You've
houses.
now got a gay compound.
A pair of houses that have to share a driveway.
You've got a multi-sexual gay compound.
It's just very funny.
It is
because
funny.
The expectation is that things will be even more a different
One
extreme.
heterosexual thrown in.
The expectation is
I
that
don't
there's
really
going to
know.
be a totally different extreme now. But that's not the point of this story.
I'm sure it'll be fine. They just won't help you with your plumbing. That's probably about
What
it.
if they will? You would think they'd know more about it.
I hope so.
You'd think they would know plenty about plumbing.
That would rule.
Okay. So
If they come in and they're just like, we're fixing your fucking washer. Hell yeah.
What am I
Hell
supposed
yeah.
to do? And like recompense to that. Oh, I'll clean out your gutters.
You'll fix their piano that they obviously have.
You don't know that. So
This is true.
So
This is true.
so Roger would Roger had diarrhea of the mouth, but not all the time. It would be the kind of thing where he would start talking to you, explaining something to you, and he would be like, what you should do with your car is you should spray chili powder around the wheel wells.
Fuck you, Roger.
So that
No.
so that little animals don't go crawling up in it. And then
that makes so much
because when
sense.
little animals crawl up in your car,
Yeah,
they really
yeah.
like the taste of the insulation on the wiring,
That makes
and they'll
sense.
eat the wiring on your car, and then it won't start.
Guess you're fucking right, Roger.
And then
Go
Roger
fuck
goes,
yourself.
just like the Mexicans who hop the border. And then you're like, you just said all of these things to me that sounded so fine, and then you just said some fucking outlandish
Fucking awful
like,
bullshit.
You just
Yeah.
said some awful bullshit, and then you go, oh, I really shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. And you're like, no, you wanted to say that. You love saying things like that.
Yeah,
It's
if
one of
you
your
didn't want to
favorite
say it,
things
you
to
wouldn't have
do.
said it. Yeah. If you didn't want to
then-
say it, you wouldn't have said
And
it.
then you're like, and then you just find yourself trapped in silence, and you're like, you just said a bunch of really nice things to me, and then you said a not so nice thing to you, and I
feel
don't
like I can't take your advice now.
I'm not gonna be the neighbor who fucking who writes you off because you can't stop running your mouth. Instead, I would always do something like so put chili powder around my car. And
You're probably changing Roger for the better in that way.
So for the longest time, when I started seeing my boyfriend,
Oh.
okay, he shows up in his car and whatever. It's a noticeable vehicle. I don't want to get all that specific. It's just noticeable. All right. So he would
Beamer.
So Roger would say. He would just call him by the vehicle, and he'd be like, "Oh, so how's vehicle person doing?" And he'd be like, "They're fine, And I would ignore it, whatever, because it's my business.
Sure.
And I'm like, Roger's probably gonna be funny, and like make it weird, or he's gonna be kind of a dick. Who the fuck knows? I was like, I don't know. I'm not addressing this. I'm not addressing this with you. You do things in conversation that make stuff weird. So for the longest time, I did not. He didn't know shit.
Yeah.
Until one day, we move in together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unavoidable now because there is a big old truck moving.
Theoretically, you could have had a second roommate. Theoretically. You have a big enough house for it.
Except
but
that
yes.
Roger says to me, so, is vehicle person's stuff all going to fit in his room? And I said, no.
No.
You know what?
It's going to fit in my room.
No, what? It isn't. It isn't going to fit in his room. And he says, and he goes, oh. And, with like this smug fucking look on his face. And I just remember being like, I know exactly what you've done. And you know what you've done. You know what you've done.
You just placed one piece of the puzzle.
You know what you've done, and I know what you've done. So you know what? I'm taking
And I know you know, and you know that I know you know.
So you know what, Roger? I'm taking all of your toys away now. I'm taking all of them away because you don't get to have fun. You don't get to have fun wondering anymore. I just said everything. It was like, we're moving in together. That's all his stuff. And, there. Like, that was the attitude. Like, so there, right? And he just goes, oh, that's
goodbye.
That's cool.
Okay, goodbye.
No, he said literally
yeah.
that's cool. And like looks around, and I'm just like waiting for more.
Because you were the first boy he's ever met that wasn't like, ew, no.
But here's the thing: is he used to say stuff to me like, I really like the way you dress. He used to say weird things.
And now it probably feels weird for him knowing that he said those things.
It feels weirder for me knowing that he said those things.
He doesn't care about that.
No, because what are all the things that's going on in Mr. Navy's fucking pockets?
You know he experimented. He was in the Navy.
There's no telling. All I know is that
there's telling.
all I know is that his ex-gay pastor also has to prevent him from looking at porn on his phone with a password he's not allowed to know.
Wait. His ex-gay pastor has to prevent Roger from looking up porn.
Right. That's what I know.
What a sad man.
Yeah, but he knows a whole lot about chemicals.
Yeah, no,
And he knows how to fix electronics, and he knows how to help you with your
There's
plumbing.
a reason he's sad you're not his neighbor anymore.
Well, curiously, when I had already known that he was moving, so I also saw no real problem with like letting it, because I was like, if this goes bad, that like if he if somehow this ends up being a thing, then
it'll only be for so much longer.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of was like, all right, whatever, fuck. But I see what happens.
I just mean the reason that he said you're no longer going to be his neighbor is because you're probably the only person that's ever talked to him like a human that isn't already on his side.
After saying to him the things, revealing the things, there goes again. After saying to him those things, and him being kind of, a little bit like, I guess awkwardly like dealing with it, but like still being like it probably didn't really matter.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. It's just it's just kind of like goofy feeling because he made it goofy. I'm then like helping move in this haggard lamp. It's fucking huge from like a hotel, okay? With like a ripped up
of course.
Like
it's the Fragile lamp from
No, it's not. Stop. No, it's this huge green base lamp with like a giant rectangular fucking screen on it, and it's like all shredded. It's all ripped up and shredded. It's just like, I don't know, it's just something that it's just something that we like.
Before you end. No, I need to say.
All right, what?
You just described this lamp, and I still have no idea what it looks like. Keep going.
It's huge. It looks like it belongs in a hotel that's covered in cobwebs.
It's just really funny that you took so much time, and I have no mental picture.
It's like 4 feet.
You don't have to give me one.
It's 4 feet tall. 3 of those feet is a ripped up shade. Its base is green, and it's all kinds of warbly and wobbly, and it looks like it belongs in a hotel covered in cobwebs. Okay. And Roger sees me carrying that by itself because it's large and bulky, and he just yells from his driveway, Is that some kind of retro? And I just said, No, Roger. It is for my haunted house.
And what did Roger say?
And Roger laughed and said, I love having you as a neighbor.
Oh, so awkward.
Yeah.
So awkward, Roger.
And I just said, I like having you as a neighbor, too. I chose my words very specifically.
That's the thing. Roger said that because he really means it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But it's like he's coming from that like down home fucking Iowa grows corn fucking
bullshit,
blue collar
bullshit
silliness, where he's like, whatever.
Bullshit.
I don't know. They would like, they would invite us to things, whatever, and then it would be like, oh, come to this dinner, but also you have to go to church first. And you're like, can I just go to the dinner? And they'd be like, no. And then you go, well, I guess I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Can I just go to the part where we eat? I like the eating part.
Yeah,
I can do the eating, socializing part, and people had just gotten their fill of God.
Hey. Fuck the church part.
No, but then he's like, why don't you want to go to church? And he goes, everybody would love you there. And I said, Roger, I know that they would. I know.
Yeah.
I know that they'll love us too much. Okay.
And it'll be weird.
Yes. And also, I've already gone to church.
Yeah.
For most of my life, I went to church. I don't need more church. I don't need more of it because I already know what's there. I know what I'm going to learn there. I know how it is people are going to behave there. I know that the potluck is going to be funny. I know everybody's going to want to be our best friends. And you know what? I don't need any friends. I don't need them. I don't even need the food that bad. I'll cook myself. I don't need a wafer and some cranberry juice in a little tiny plastic cup that's easily popped.
It's not even fucking wine. What are you holding out on me?
Yeah, it's only the Catholics drink the wine.
I know, it's a joke.
And the Jews. Wait, no, they don't do that.
No,
Never mind.
the Jews don't do that.
Well, they'll drink wine, but they don't.
Well, yes, I mean, anybody will drink wine. But
not at the church.
It's not called
for
a church.
any particular reason.
It's not called a church.
Temple,
but,
not a temple. For any particular reason. So now that he's like, now he's moved away. And,
a dog personified.
During the moving time, we had set it up so that the rental truck was going to help move this girl, who was a very good friend.
Yes.
And so we had set it up so that all the timing would align. So she's driving the truck. and we're just about to
like
leave.
a boss.
Yeah, because he's up in the business, trying to help, and like helping is great, but also like
leave me the fuck alone sometimes.
your helping is actually making it more stressful because I'm like, when am I getting away from the conversation part? Because
helping in the wrong way.
he's the kind of person where like I said to him close to before he moved away, I said to him, I was like, Roger, like one sentence earlier, like one. If you just stopped one sentence earlier, you would be golden.
Great.
You'd be perfect, but you don't have the filter on that one part of yourself. So
you were good for Roger. Roger wasn't good for you. I mean, he was, but
no, he was.
Yeah,
he was.
no, I know.
No, he was. He had maybe he had some growing. Who the fuck knows? Maybe
of course,
maybe it worked out.
Well, that's why
for
I
him
said
in the long run.
You did treat Roger like a human being, where most people only treated him as
he deserves to be treated as
himself.
A human being. He did human things.
No. I just mean like people that are on Roger's side only treat Roger as the greatest thing, and people that are not on Roger's side only treat Roger as dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that middle ground is very important. You need that as a person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I
Oh, I don't want to get up my ass with like honorability or some shit. I'm just,
I'm not talking about honorability.
No,
just,
but I mean like, I'm sorry. That made me.
Anyway,
feel,
I just
what
meant,
you said made me
yes.
feel uncomfortable. I don't know
good.
why.
Good.
I think it was in a good way. I think it was in a good
I
way.
impacted somebody.
Yeah. I think that shit. So
it didn't take, so don't worry about it.
no. So what he did was, it was the only time that it was brought to my attention that he was a dirty old man.
Oh.
Because the girl driving the car, she's got dimple.
Because you've never been a woman around him. Sorry.
She's got dimple piercing.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm trying to get into the car because the truck is trying to go because we are on a time schedule here and we just finished on
well, you got to drop off that truck at some point.
And another day is going to cost money, but also fucking we're getting tired. It's hot. We're
I know.
trying to move shit. You know how moving is.
I moved you last time, remember?
Yeah. Well,
the shop. Yeah.
Thank you for forever.
Oh no, don't worry about it.
Okay. Fine, then don't bring it up.
Because I quit at 3 a.m. I was like, I'm out. I'm sorry, I can't help anymore. 3 a.m. I got to work at 8.
So I'm getting into my car, and Roger's talking to me about things, and I'm just saying, and I finally just say, because I'm pretty good at, people lock you into conversations. I'm pretty good at going, hey, it's time to leave. It's time to leave. And I just said,
things happen.
I said, anyways, Roger, by the way, we are on a time schedule, so I'm very sorry, but I do have to get in my car and just get going. So I'll see you later on.
Yeah.
I was like, I just can't anymore. And he says, and he just goes, oh, well, that's cool. Like he gets kind of
a little
upset.
defensive, yeah.
And then he like waves down the fucking truck for her to roll her window down, and he just jokingly says, he goes, he just told me to shut up, like pretending to be a kid.
Yeah.
And I just said, Roger, you know that's not what happened. You know I didn't tell you to shut up. You know that we gotta leave. Like I just yelled that over to him. And like a
child.
Yeah.
Like you would to a child.
I did the exact same way.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Roger!
I treated him, and I was doing it with a joking voice.
Yeah.
And then I didn't hear this, but he says up to her, he goes, you know you got holes in your face, right? Like he just starts fucking picking into somebody, like again, like latching onto another person.
Smoking Joe style, just dig in.
And she is used to people being pigs. And she says, yeah, I got a lot more of them too.
Cool.
Yeah. So they leave.
And Roger went,
yeah, well, I guess he didn't know what to do with that. I don't know.
Roger curtsied and
when
left.
we get to the next place that we got to start moving stuff, I get informed is like the two of them, they just go, your neighbor is a fucking pig. Your neighbor is a dirty pig man. And I'm just like, no, he's not.
Yes,
he's not
he
bad.
is.
He's like, no, he is.
No,
he's a dirty pig man. That's what he is.
He's definitely a dirty pig man.
And I'm like, tell me, please explain to me, because I'm like still giving him like the
That's why
benefit
I said
of the doubt.
You've never been a woman around.
Yeah. I'm like, you're
excluded from.
Tell
dirty
me what he
pigment.
did, and they explain to me what he did, and I go, oh, it's not that bad. And then they say a little bit more, and then I go, oh, come on, maybe he was just. And then they say a little bit more, and I go, oh, okay, maybe he's a dirty pig man. And I just
he's a dirty pig
And then I just
man.
go, but he's my neighbor. And I'm like, please don't make it hard for just, don't like treat him like shit for that or whatever.
For the dirty pigman.
No, because he's like a grown child. The man is a grown child, and it's kind of like one of the funniest ways because like you can tell
endearing and awful at the same time.
Exactly.
Yes.
He has like on his face all the emotions he's feeling at any given
Yes.
moment.
No,
He's
just
I suppose they call it like lacking subtlety because I guess he's got none.
sure. Yeah.
So he
No filter, blah blah blah, all that
yeah,
bullshit.
and yeah, exactly. And so like we threw a show in this basement here, and on the day of that show,
He wanted to be invited, so
he did, he did, but he didn't know how to say it. And like you could just see him the whole time, just like taking up space outside with a frown, just like that, the entire time. And all I could think was like, I would love for you to come over, but also you're not asking, so I don't have to address it.
That's right.
If you came over and said,
You'll yell at
"Hey,
everybody.
can I
down
see
here.
what's going on down there?" I would go, "Absolutely, go down there."
Come on
but
in.
I'm just banking on the fact it's like you're not gonna.
He wasn't gonna say it.
You
He
wouldn't
wasn't
dare.
gonna say it,
You
Roger.
wouldn't dare ask to come. down.
Roger.
You wouldn't dare do it.
Never.
And I just, so he's
Amazing.
he's currently on a trip traveling across country to get to his newest destination, and I'm sitting with a.
Say he was going to Washington,
with with an empty. So I'm sitting with an empty house next to me.
where all the other white power people go. It's true, actually, but that doesn't mean that's why Roger's going there.
Wait. But also where all of the anarchists go. So
Seattle, yes.
Portland.
Seattle and Portland, yes, but everything else.
it's Portland,
very-
Oregon.
Yes, Portland, Oregon. But
Which
I
is
just
above
mean like
Washington.
yes, but I just mean in that general area.
Right.
But other than that, it's all full of KKK. It's not actually. It's actually not untrue.
He's
It's a
going there
little.
for-
It's a
he's-
little misleading.
He's going there for some military reason because it's military transfer.
there. No,
Yeah, so I don't
a
know.
military transfer. What is he? He's like.
He's in the military. He's in the Navy.
Does he still work for them?
He was a chef. He said really hilariously. So he goes. When I was moving.
I
in
say
here,
that as
my
a
dad
person
was
whose grandfather was a chef in the Navy.
my dad was with me helping me move in a little bit, moving stuff around the house, and we're talking, and Roger's talking, and he finds out that my dad was in the Navy, and my dad was a lieutenant commander in the
a
Navy.
real Navyman.
My dad was in charge of what happened to boats, and he trained people with Stinger missiles and shit. Like he did some
A
some
real
stuff.
Navyman.
He did some stuff, but he doesn't tell me everything that he did. He just
never would.
right. Okay,
You probably kill people, huh?
I don't know.
Oh, he did.
I don't know.
No, I do.
Here's the thing, and this is what the point of this story is that Rogers goes, "I'm the chef in the Navy," and blah blah blah, and he explains his thing, and my dad, and then he says, "What'd you do in the Navy?" And my dad goes, I was a lieutenant commander, and I was stationed in Kuwait during the Gulf War."
Kuwait.
And he explains, and he says something that, like, in my mind, because I'm not military connected, I don't know what this thing means. But in Roger's mind, Roger immediately goes, "Oh, so you killed people." And my dad just said, "Well, that's what the guns were for."
Yeah,
And then everybody went quiet.
The best.
Everybody went quiet. I looked at my dad. I looked at Roger. I looked back at my dad. And then I looked back at Roger. And then I just left all of that. I just said,
response.
"There's nowhere else to go with this. I don't know how to behave now." And all I can think to myself is, I think my dad might have killed some people. I think my dad might have killed some
I think
people.
that's
But I'm not sure. Maybe he's just really good in conversation.
I
think he might just be really good in conversation. 'Cause
yes, it is.
Like,
It's one of the best responses I've ever heard in such a quick amount of time.
because it leaves an implication, but it also doesn't
He also
answer.
he also does not confirm or deny. He
Yeah.
just says the thing,
Yeah.
which makes him a stone-cold killer, baby. Stone-cold fucking killer.
Should we end there? Or you got something?
My mother and her sisters and her cousins, their fathers both being in World War II, all that fun stuff. Often, they had many swords. Because what did you do in World War II except collect a couple Japanese swords
Okay.
and already have your own cavalry sabers.
Yeah.
So there's just a bunch of that shit out there in my family that I think about. How'd Uncle Charlie get those Japanese swords?
I think you know.
I think I know. And it's funny when you hear stories about like an 8-year-old girl, my mom, holding one because she thinks there's ghosts. And then you're just like, that's also a little weird. How long have we been going? Is it time to go? Is it time
it's
to go?
time to go. It's 75.
Now I've actually got some more stories, but I'll save them.
All right. I think this turned out better than expected today.
That's
Very
all we
glad.
can ask.
Well, write us at Marklar's marklarmusic@gmail.com. That's Marklar's marklarmusic@gmail.com. That's Marklar's marklarmusic@gmail.com. Write us at gmail.com. Marklar's marklarmusic@gmail.com.
Please, anybody. Has
Please,
anybody ever written us?
Nope, except for that one guy that one time. But anyways, have a good night.
And he texted me.
He did. So it didn't even count. And I checked the spam folder.
Goodbye.
Love it.